Hello and welcome to another episode of the Golden Hour Podcast, brought to you by the Polar Pro Studio. I'm your host, Dave Mays, and to my right is the one, the only, Connor McCaskill.
How we doing?
He's replacing Zach Mayfield today because he's busy editing Kinotika stuff with his life.
He's off saving the world, probably.
But yeah, we're stoked to have you. And you've actually been editing the show for a couple of months now.
I have, yeah, since, I don't even know, April?
Yeah, basically when we both moved back to Nashville.
So March.
Yeah. I mean, roughly around that time period.
Yeah,
but yeah, how's it been for you moving from California to Nashville? Because the last time we talked on this show with you specifically, you were working for Armando.
That's right.
I think it was right when the transition happened from when we unfortunately couldn't work together anymore. And then you started working with Armando.
That's correct. Yeah.
I mean, how has this journey been for you? Good grief.
Yeah, man. Wow. Yeah. It's been a roller coaster of a journey for sure. Working with Armando was a great opportunity and a great experience, but unfortunately that chapter has also closed. So now I'm looking for the next best thing, as they say. Fill in some time here at the Polar Pro Podcast, which is funny because I was working with you guys and then I wasn't, and now I'm back, baby. So it's really cool. Yeah. So we're not live switching today. I don't have my iPad, don't have my pencil.
Yeah, this is a new setup for us. We're actually using my beloved Olympus cameras.
Yep.
This is the EM1 Mark II that you see here. Connor's shot is the EM1 Mark III.
Yep.
And then the wide angle shot is the beloved C70.
How we doing?
Yeah, we just, we decided it would probably be a little easier. We were using the Sling Studio system.
Yeah, it's right over there, actually, this Sling Studio. And, it's deceiving because at first we're like, yes, we like the Sling Studio. This is great.
This is the little box that kind of does all the magic.
Yeah, and, I remember liking it when we used it with Polar Pro initially when we were editing in the studio, doing live switching in the studio.
Yeah.
But man, is this thing a headache when you have to get into the editor afterwards. I mean, it just throws files every which way. Nothing makes sense. Track one is your angle, and then it's Zach angle, and then it's the wide, then it's the HDMI, suddenly it's the iPhone. It randomly changes. It's one track, which is really bizarre.
For those of you who aren't familiar, the Sling Studio is this kind of box that essentially creates its own Wi-Fi network. It's a cool idea. And you get these little boxes that you put on top of your camera. We don't have any handy right now, but it's basically just a little box that plugs in over HDMI to your camera, and then it wirelessly sends the video file to this box. You could have up to 4 of those wireless boxes.
Right. Or you can use iPhones, which we were using your iPhone. So you can use those as like a camera itself, and it works really potentially good for live streaming. Honestly, that might be where it's better suited.
That's exactly what it's for. Yeah. They designed it. There's even an input here for like a battery pack that they sell.
Okay.
So you could literally use this in just a couple of phones. You don't even need those little dongle things to put on a camera if you're using your phone.
Right.
So you could, in theory, have like a 3 or 4 camera phone multicam live, completely remote in the middle of a conference or something. It's a great thing for live switching, but that's not what we're using it for. We're using it for a professional, video that we want to kind of tweak and make changes and
which technically it does allow for making changes in an edit. It gives you essentially, what is it, an XML?
It gives you Final Cut XML.
Yeah.
But because you're on Premiere, we have to convert the Final Cut over to Premiere, and I think that's where a lot of your issues are maybe coming from.
Yeah, quite possibly. But honestly, I remember the Final Cut file because I used to edit it in Final Cut.
Yeah.
I remember that being kind of a nightmare as well, where it would just be like, 10 layers of files for 3 camera angles. It just doesn't make sense.
So about 2 years ago, which is when we bought this, when we first started the Polar Pro Podcast, this was kind of the only thing on the market that did what it does, which is allows you to do a live switch, but then gives you the ability to edit it in post.
Sure.
So we got this system and it was fine. But since then, Blackmagic has come out with the ATEM Mini Pro ISO is what they call it.
Ooh.
I don't know what the ISO stands for exactly, but
it's probably not the same thing that's in the camera, if I had to guess.
But no, definitely not. So what's cool about this is you have it's hardwire, so you're not having to use the wireless thing. Now, obviously, that's kind of what makes this cool is that it is wireless. but we don't care about that because we're just in a small room.
Right.
So I can easily wire in my 4 HDMIs here. I've got my mic in. I got 2 mic ins, so I could use my computer audio and then my mixing board. It's the same concept, except it's like actual hardware that allows you to just boom, boom, boom. It's even got picture-in-picture built in here.
Better tool for the job for sure.
And then it gives you a DaVinci Resolve file when it's all done that has the multicam basically edited.
Resolve? It's weird.
I don't know. It's as if Blackmagic owns the software or something.
It's crazy.
But obviously one of the great things about Resolve is that it's free. It's a great app, but it is pretty easy to convert, I think, Resolve to Premiere.
Yeah.
They have an XML feature.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All of them can communicate with each other. They just don't like to.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But I think this is probably what we're going to get eventually.
Okay.
So basically, if we use this, especially with Blackmagic cameras, I guess it's really dialed in so you can just relink original files.
Yeah.
So you can record in camera, do the switch, and then it saves all that metadata and links it to the raw data.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, but like you said, maybe it only works with Blackmagic. Do you think we can jerry rig some? Because we got kind of a hodgepodge of cameras right now. We'd have
to ask somebody that knows. I know Joseph, Photo Joseph would know. He's kind of the master at the live switching stuff on his channel.
Blackmagic connection still. What is it, Captain Hook or something?
Yeah, I'm friends with Captain Hook. He used to be big in the Blackmagic forums.
Okay.
We met him when we did the Blackmagic video.
Yeah, I still remember his name, and I don't remember anyone's name, so that's kind of fun.
Yeah, Captain Hook. He was kind of well known in the Blackmagic community.
Yeah.
And yeah, man, what a whirlwind that was that year.
That was a crazy day.
That was for those of you who don't know, I think we've probably shared this already.
We've talked about this, Dave.
Yeah. Blackmagic 4K.
If you want to hear about it, just go listen to a different video.
There you go. Exactly.
Let's talk about something new.
So anyways, Connor's here.
Yeah.
And we're using a new switching system. So hopefully it looks a little better. Lighting definitely still needs work.
Yes.
Also this desk. I would love to have an official golden hour desk.
Yeah. Actually, we're using daylight a little bit, which is always dangerous.
But we were using it at 4 o'clock when we set this up, and now it's 6 o'clock.
Right.
So it's a little darker.
I'm looking at your angle right now, and you look a little dark, David. I'll have to fix that in post-production.
Yeah.
A little bit.
So let's talk about some cool things going on right now. The EOS R3.
Yeah, you're gonna have to fill me in. I kept up with it up to never. So let me know what's going on.
Yeah, so the EOS R3 is coming soon, and it's kind of the flagship promise from Canon that we're finally getting.
Another flagship one. That's cool.
Yes. Well, I mean, the R5 is definitely considered a flagship.
Right.
Well, I think a flagship is defined by chunky grip. That's kind of what I think.
I thought it was big boat, but I'm wrong.
All the cameras that are considered flagship models are like the D3, the 1DC, which is sitting right here.
Yeah. Can I hold it?
Yeah.
Thanks.
This camera's it brings back memories. It's such a tank.
Why that's too heavy.
It is too heavy.
No, this is cool.
I love that thing.
Wait, I just want to do this.
The R3 is there you go. Isn't that nice?
That's just so satisfying. The little lever.
What's that called? ASMR?
Yeah. Ooh.
That was a little loud. But yeah,
I can
when
fix that.
the 1DC, it has the memory card slot. Listen to that. Oh, that's nice.
It's kind of nice.
That was kind of satisfying.
Camera ASMR. Stay tuned for that at the end of this podcast.
And then for those of you listening, what is this ASMR? I think they got it.
I don't know if that's ASMR or you just playing Nintendo clips now.
I have my Game Boy Advance with the modified backlight.
That's pretty epic. I'm definitely jealous.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's got a lithium-ion rechargeable battery as well.
Wow.
It's basically like a modern Game Boy Advance.
Did you have a yellow one as well?
I have a yellow Game Boy Color original from when I was
unmodified.
A kid. Unmodified, like straight up same exact one that I had when I was 8 or whatever.
Yeah, that's sick. I don't have any of them. I got rid of all of them.
Oh, dang.
Yeah, I'm crazy like that.
Did you have a Game Boy Advance or like a SP?
I had the SP, the one that the clamshell. It was silver.
That one was great.
Got it on eBay. It was sick. I played a lot of Sonic.
Okay,
a lot of Sonic. And then I was a big fan of the DS, the original DS. I had the blue one. Boy. Yeah, I wish I had it. Sold
It was actually a great system.
Yeah, I loved it. Played wait, hold on. I took a picture of it at one point. I don't know where it is anymore. I had over 500 hours in Pokemon Diamond. It was too many hours.
Pokemon games are amazingly addictive.
Yeah. We were talking about Canon, and now we're talking about, yes, that's what I had.
The blue one.
I loved that one.
So I had the PSP.
I wish I had my original one.
I actually was not, I don't know. I just never was a Nintendo guy when I was a kid, which I hate that I was like that.
Yeah. Well, you were a little older than me, so you were part of like the cooler generation, you know?
I guess.
Yeah.
But I waited in line.
PSPs.
I waited in line forever for the PSP.
Yeah.
And that was, I mean, it was pretty great.
It was a technological marvel at the time for sure, but I don't know. It didn't play Mario, so who cares?
Yeah, but it played Battlefront.
That's cool.
Which was pretty awesome.
Yeah, but so did my Xbox.
Yeah, but you couldn't play Battlefront on the school bus.
What were we talking about?
We were talking about the EOS R3.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
So obviously, if you follow the Canon kind of mirrorless world, the R5 is kind of the flagship for now of the mirrorless cameras.
Right. I guess you have to add the battery grip in order for it to be a flagship, but sure.
But now the R3 is kind of officially announced.
Yeah.
We still don't know all the details, but it's a chunky camera. It's still smaller than your traditional DSLR.
Does it take pictures?
It takes pictures.
So is it essentially a mirrorless 1DX?
Basically.
Okay, good. Because I don't know why in the world we released another DSLR 1DX. That was the biggest waste of everything.
I think it was obviously before COVID, and they were thinking that the Olympics were going to happen. And so they had to just have something for those types of photographers.
That's true. Yeah, that's fair. But even still, do you think that, I mean, I know photographers tend to be pretty old school and they hold on to the past.
Yeah.
They don't like to move on to newer, better technologies. But
exactly.
Are we not ready for mirrorless for the Olympics?
I think we're ready.
Okay, good.
Although I've talked to sports journalist Jamie Price on this podcast. He does sports photography, and he, along with many other sports photographers, like just is used to the DSLR, and they're kind of just more used to that. And they like the mirror too.
Sure.
But I don't know.
Yeah.
So we're looking at a full frame sensor, obviously.
Well, you say obviously, but you never know.
They're not telling us exactly the megapixel count yet, but people are kind of guesstimating that it's not going to be like crazy high resolution.
Okay.
But it will do an oversampled 4K, so it'll at least be 30 megapixels probably.
Yeah. I would guess probably around there.
Again, maybe like the 1DX.
1DX, or I think the original EOS R had like a 30 megapixel sensor as well, right?
Exactly, yeah. Obviously we care mostly about the video features.
Of course.
So Canon 4K log 3 oversampled 4K internal raw video.
Internal raw, okay.
Yeah, it'll probably be the same as the R5, except hopefully because it's a bigger camera and some time has passed, the overheating will be a non-issue.
Hopefully. It was supposed to be a non-issue on the R5 until we used it.
Yeah.
And then it was an issue.
A lot of people who believe that these flagship cameras like the 1D shouldn't have a flip out screen.
Yeah.
Because, the weather sealing or something, but they're including a flip out display.
No way. Okay.
So that's cool to see that on a camera like this. I'm just going to play this video by Gordon Lang while we're talking about it. You can see it. They actually have
I like
a version of it.
The grip texture looks really enticing.
Yeah, it's kind of got a carbon fiber look to it in a way.
And also, does the cap kind of match it? That's kind of nice.
I don't think so. I think it's just
no, on the edge.
I don't know.
It kind of looks like it's the same texture carried over. Am I crazy?
Gordon's awesome. I don't know if you've ever watched Gordon's videos. He's been around forever doing videos on camera labs.
Okay.
You can see on the side grip here, there's just all your standard stuff.
That better be a full-size HDMI or I'm going to have a fit.
I don't know. I would assume that he's going to reveal that to us. I don't think so.
No? Mini at least? Come on. I like the aesthetics of it. It looks good.
Yeah, it uses the
screen.
The 1D one. But yeah, look at that screen. It's got the flip out vari angle.
Yeah.
So you can use it for vlogging.
Yeah, of course. Well, I mean, what else would I use it for?
It's got that kind of touch sensitive back panel thing.
Oh yeah, I hate that thing
cool.
on the original R. Although this looks better implemented than the R.
The R didn't have that.
Well, it had the it still had a touch thing. It was just like the touch slider.
Yeah, exactly.
And then they replaced the joystick, which that one has a joystick and the touch.
Yeah,
So that's
best
great.
of both
So
worlds.
if you like one versus the other, you're good.
Exactly. The fact that it has that flip out selfie screen is pretty cool.
That's pretty gnarly. I'm surprised they didn't go with a trifold to make the photographers happy, but
yeah, like the S1H.
Yeah, something like that. But that's actually kind of cool. Maybe they're gonna focus a little bit. I'm still in love with the texture.
It looks like he's not opening the flaps.
Maybe he's not allowed to.
Yeah, it doesn't look like he's.
Canon can be pretty tight on like releasing stuff.
I mean, it's kind of amazing that he even has this hands-on video here.
Yeah, honestly, I don't know how he managed that.
So everybody go check out Gordon Lang's video. The R3 is going to be pretty awesome. We don't have a ton of information about it, really.
I just like this one sentence, which I stopped reading halfway through, and then I had to finish. It says inclusion of cars and motorbikes in AF tracking.
In AF tracking. So it's going to have some
I was like, wow, it comes with cars and motorcycles? That's pretty cool.
Let's see. I didn't even talk about any photo features. It has SD and CF express cards. It's got the LPE19 battery, which I think is the same from the 1D. Same weather sealing as the 1D series, which is great.
Right.
AF down to -7 EV. New accessory shoe. So that may mean that Canon's coming out with maybe an XLR module for the hot shoe.
Yeah.
That could be cool.
To compete with Sony.
Wi-Fi, 5G.
No internal ND, maybe?
No internal ND, probably not.
That makes sense because they're going to protect their C70.
And then high speed, of course, this is what sports photographers, flagship people need.
Right.
High speed, 30 frames per second, shutter in the electronic shutter mode.
Yeah.
They're not telling us how much in the mechanical shutter mode. So,
okay.
I mean, if we're comparing it to the Sony A1?
Sure.
Can do even faster.
Okay.
So the burst rate on the Sony A1 is, well, no, it's 30 frames per second.
Yeah, they're usually 50 megapixels.
But it's 50 megapixels.
I was gonna say, ooh, all right, 8.6K. You know, I haven't even looked at this camera at all.
This camera's nuts, man.
Yeah,
the A1.
What does it retail for?
Take a guess.
Okay, let's see, 8K, $5,000, four or $5,000, something like that.
$6,500.
I'm off.
The price is wrong.
The price is wrong. Yeah. I mean, I guess the R5 is, but the R5 is honestly the same specs as that camera, basically.
Well, yeah. Well, not really, but
well, I mean, it shoots 8K raw, and I mean, maybe it's not as good in the photo department. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's roughly the same megapixels, 45 versus 50. So that's pretty close.
But you get all the Sony-isms, you know, it doesn't overheat.
Yeah.
It's got the great autofocus, obviously all the Sony lenses now.
Yeah.
But it's got the Sony body, which
it's got that Sony price tag is what it's got.
That's true.
Yeah. I'm not a fan of the Sony grip. There's something about Sony grips I've never been too keen on.
Yeah, I mean, that's something we've talked about before, is like you just kind of despise the Sony like grip.
Yeah,
just the body.
Yeah, exactly. It's like every time I mess around with a Sony camera, I'm always just uncomfortable using it, basically. Like Canon is just, I'm not a Canon fanboy either. I use Fujifilm personally, but there's something about Canon when you hold it, just feels good. Like especially the EOS R grip, particularly.
Just melts in your hand.
It was so nice. I like it better than the R6 and the R5 grip.
Well, the C70 is still the best kind of cinema camera right now, in my opinion.
Yeah.
For Canon, they're supposedly doing an R5C, which would be cool.
Yeah, I've heard about that too. So I don't know. I don't know what the deal with that is either.
I think this R3 is just, it's cool that they're doing it. You know, Canon needs to be beefing up their line. They don't have enough cameras in the mirrorless line.
No, what they don't have enough is lenses.
Or lenses.
Yeah, honestly, it's like stop making cameras for a minute. You know,
I think they only have like 2 primes and then 3 or 4 zooms.
They need to come out with like 40 lenses.
Yeah. So anyways, that's the R3. We don't really have a ton of information on it. Everybody go check out Gordon Lang's video. If you want to see a hands-on, we'll link it in the description of this video.
Was it really hands-on or tripod on?
Tripod on.
Yeah,
basically.
it was just B-roll of it on a tripod.
So next up is Nikon, which is coming. They're rumored to come out with a retro-inspired mirrorless.
It looks like the Nikon F3 camera, which I was actually looking on eBay at those because I really like how the F3 HP. It's not a DSLR, it's film.
Oh, they did make a DSLR that looked like that.
Okay,
but yeah, no, I know what you're saying. The F3 is a very popular film camera.
Yeah.
From back in the day. It's got a beautiful look, and obviously it's really compact.
Absolutely. It looks very, even down to the little red line there on the grip.
I'm pretty sure that this photo that we're looking at is a photo of a film camera, not the camera that is rumored. It's just they're using it as a reference.
Oh, that makes a lot of sense. I was like, wow, that looks just like, okay, yeah.
I just wanted to point out, like, you're a Fuji shooter, and part of the whole Fuji allure is the retro aesthetics.
Allure is a great word.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good word.
Thank you. It's Connorism.
Yeah, definitely the aesthetics of Fujifilm is enticing. I mean, you know, it just looks cool.
Yeah,
which
just
makes
like your
me
new glasses.
Feel cool. I know, yeah. New glasses. Although it's funny, I ordered black glasses and they came not black.
Tortoiseshell.
Yeah.
But it looks cool. It's nice.
Yeah. But I kind of like it, actually.
I really like it. I feel like, in a way, it's not a frame that you would have picked, just knowing your personality.
Yeah.
But now that you've received it, it looked great on you.
Yeah,
and it's a little flash of like creativity.
Yeah, which I'm not creative, so that makes it's great.
I mean, you're wearing a Peter McKinnon shirt, so
I know. How uncreative is that? Okay.
I noticed that today. His signature is on the bottom down there.
I know. He signed.
Where'd you get that?
He signed my shirt from his coffee shop. Okay. Well, it's not his.
Cool.
The one that is it his? Does he co-owns it? I think.
I can't believe that you bought a shirt that's black.
Yeah.
Because it's a McKinnon shirt.
Yeah.
It does have a little owl logo on it. It has
an owl that's also black.
That's so funny. And he sells a black shirt. And makes $1 million off of it, I'm sure.
Yeah, but I mean, I actually quite like the shirt. It fits quite well.
Well, I mean, yeah, what do video people wear?
Black.
Black. Yeah. So I guess I'll just make a McKinnon black shirt. That's what he said.
That's honestly, it's brilliant. And it's a high quality shirt, and the coffee shop is dope. So definitely go check out James Coffee Co. in San Diego next time you're there.
Well,
it's a cool place.
I wanted to just bring up this whole retro aesthetic thing because Olympus actually released their first camera in a long time.
Isn't Olympus owned by someone else now?
They were bought out by this company that like just buys out companies that are going out of business.
Ooh, that's nice.
But they went for this really retro aesthetic.
They called it the Olympus Pen.
Well, that's a real film camera. Called the Olympus Pen.
I like the name.
So as you can see, this is a classic pen camera.
Oh, nice.
This was a very popular camera in the 70s.
Yeah.
And it was a very small, compact film body.
I like the lens cap. That is smexy.
And so they obviously kind of went with that aesthetic. And the specs on this are really lackluster. Like my Olympus cameras that we're using right now are actually better than this one.
Okay.
This one's designed for a more consumer market.
Sure. What are the specs of the Olympus Pen, the new one?
So, yeah, I mean, it's just a 20 megapixel sensor they've been kind of recycling for the last like 2 or 3 years now.
Okay.
There's nothing new about it. They just kind of put it in a new body. They kind of added some new buttons and grips to it that make it a little bit more user-friendly.
I mean, this is definitely designed for hipsters, right?
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's the perfect kind of like, with this lens, this is the 15 millimeter f1.7 from Panasonic.
Yeah. So when you
trying to drop it,
if
you put this, that's a 30 millimeter.
Okay.
So just multiply everything by 2.
On
Micro
nice.
Four Thirds.
Got it.
So this little pancake lens on that camera, like it's smaller than my phone. I mean, it's obviously a little like deeper and stuff, but it's something you could easily just throw in your pocket. Yeah. But at that point, you could also just argue like, well, yeah, why don't you just get the
what does it retail for?
That's a good question. I'm not sure.
Because honestly, this is reminding me. Okay, $700.
Is it 700?
That doesn't seem right.
It might be.
Does it have a pop-up flash?
It does.
That's cute.
The thing that's dumb about it though is like I think a lot of people still just write Micro Four Thirds off because again you've got the Fuji like X100 series.
Yeah, the X100V is really nice, although it's way more money.
$1,400.
And it's a fixed lens, I think.
But it's a gorgeous body though.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, you get that same kind of aesthetic.
Yeah.
If
those
not better.
Fujifilm film simulations are nasty nice.
Plus you get a real optical kind of viewfinder thing on it.
Right. Of course, fixed lens.
But
something to consider.
The reason I'm bringing all this up is because I think there's something to the because photography is an art form.
Right.
There is something to the aesthetic of the camera.
I think so. Yeah.
Right.
A lot of people would say that it's like, give me all black because I'm working. My camera should look like a workhorse, and that can be true for particular situations. But in our case, we live near downtown Nashville, and if you want to go out and just shoot some street photography, you know, just hit up the town or just take cool photos with your friends, maybe road tripping, like it's cool and it's fun and spunky to have like a camera with some class to it in a way.
There's kind of a posture to using a camera like this too, because it's so small.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel very like it just feels way less I don't know what I'm trying to say. It's just so much more casual.
Yeah, it maybe feels less intimidating in a way.
Yeah, for the people being photographed.
Yeah, even that as well, and maybe just more fun. I've also recently on this same kind of less intimidating, less professional, more consumer level, I've been messing around more with film simulations in my Fujifilm and not shooting RAW, which is kind of hard to do for some reason.
I shoot JPEG with my camera when I just take pictures of the kids.
Yeah.
I don't want to have to edit it.
No, yeah. I mean, that makes a ton of sense. I've been rocking my iPad and plugging them in and editing my RAWs that way.
Nice.
But that being said, there's this website. Hold on. It's an Instagram that I found. So I don't know if they have a website. They probably do.
What's it called?
It's called Fujifilm Weekly. And they actually have an app. And I downloaded their app, and it just has a bunch of different like film simulation recipes.
Is this it? Fuji X Weekly?
Yeah, Fuji X Weekly. That's them.
Cool.
Yeah, and they have an app. So you can download the app if you have a Fujifilm camera. And I'm thinking about making a video on it, honestly. And you can just download different film recipes.
Interesting. Velvia V2 film simulation recipe.
Yeah, so basically you can dive into the settings of your camera and adjust like the color, how much highlights it retains, how much saturation it's going to have with color and not have saturation with color, and which film simulation you choose. So whether you choose classic chrome or you choose pro negative or whatever. And it creates different, essentially kind of like film stock, makes it more fun. And it kind of has that pressure of like, when you shoot it, that's kind of what you got. You can do some tweaking.
Yeah.
But overall, it's kind of what you shoot is what you get. It's kind of fun.
That's cool, man.
Yeah.
What a cool find.
Yeah. And the app is free. They do have a paid version. And with the paid version, I think you can like more easily navigate the app. They make it like you can save stuff. But if you don't want to pay, you can just kind of scroll until you find something cool.
That's super cool. Download in the App Store now. FujiXweekly.com.
There you go.
So yeah, I mean, there's something to just having a pretty camera. I mean, all of us professionals, you obviously use the right camera for the job.
Sure.
Whether it's just an all black EOS R or Sony camera.
Right.
But if you have the ghpability to have a smaller, lighter, less intimidating body like an X100, or if you're crazy like me, this Pen EP7.
I honestly think that that's a really cool camera for you specifically because you love Olympus so much. It's kind of like a nice thing to have where it's a little bit modern. You can still do some cool stuff with it, but it has that retro classy look as well.
Totally.
It's a great combination. Personally, I would love to snag an R5 myself and then just have like a 100V to keep that Fujifilm aesthetic alive.
Yeah.
That would be a great combination, but that's just currently not possible.
I would probably still go for this one over that one. This is the original Olympus Pen F digital camera.
Oh.
This one's a little more beefy. It's got an actual EVF. The other one doesn't have that.
Interesting. Flip screen.
It's a lot more money. It's, $1,000.
So it's more similar to the 100V then, I would assume?
It's more professional. Like it's more like the ones I have, just in a better body.
Yeah. No, I like that a lot.
So I would probably still go with the original Pen F. And there's rumors, like this was just really nice to see that the new company that owns Olympus is doing something.
Yeah.
So the rumors now are that they're going to do a Pen F Mark II, which would be great. And if that's the case, take my money now.
Absolutely.
Because I am...
Well, even Sony released a retro-ish looking camera, didn't they? Which one was that? The 7C or whatever?
Yeah, the A7C with the silver. It doesn't look very retro, but it at least has a silver touch to it.
It's kind of retro-ish. You could argue I am arguing it's retro. It's just
because of the silver top.
Yeah, I mean it's something. They're trying. They're making the camera a little more. They give you the option of fun.
Yeah, if you want it.
Yeah.
you have the new Mavic Air 2S.
Yeah.
Tell me about it and what makes it different from
Here it is.
all the other
Here it is.
kind of Mavic drones that we have on the market right now.
Well, I was debating getting a drone for a while now. I used to use the Mavic 2 Zoom or Mavic Zoom 2, or however they worded that.
The Mavic Pro 2 Zoom.
Sure. That one.
We reviewed it.
We did review it.
That was the one that you had, was the one that they gave us.
Yeah, basically. And I got to use it for a while, and I did enjoy it. But I always was like, the quality is kind of so-so. Like, it was just more for fun than anything else. You can get some pretty nice stuff. But there it is.
Remember this?
We're talking about the DJI Mavic 2 Pro and the
Yeah.
DJI Mavic 2 Zoom.
Zoom.
Remember I recorded that in post.
Yeah. Well, I think we tried to record it there, but something happened, right?
Yeah, I think the audio was just clipping or like it didn't record or something.
Yeah. I was going to say, you sound very odd for some reason.
It's because it was an NDA review where like we posted it early in the morning. So that's me waking up at like 5 a.m.
Okay. We recorded, go to some of that B-roll. We recorded all this in Tennessee, actually. This was recorded at Rock Island Park.
This was pre-California Dave and Connor.
Yeah, this is, the old studio.
The
Love
old studio,
that place,
man. That place was awesome. We got some good work done there.
Yeah, we did. And that flag, the Final Space poster in the back, that was fun.
I know. It was good times.
Yeah, but essentially, the reason why I got the Air 2S is because it reminded me a lot of the Mavic 2 Pro. And I really liked the image quality that we were getting out of that camera.
Yeah.
It's not exactly the same. I think the 2 Pro is technically still better. It has a Hasselblad text on it. So, I mean,
Yeah.
like, that immediately made it better.
Of course.
But honestly, this camera in its own right is shooting 5.4K, which is pretty incredible.
Yeah. I mean, we have some footage that you shot. Can we show that now?
Yeah, let's show some of this footage. I'm probably going to make a YouTube video out of it.
So yeah, we won't show the whole thing. You guys should go over to Connor McCaskill's channel if you want to see this footage. Was this shot in the 5K mode?
This was shot in 5.4K D-Log at 30 FPS because you can shoot up to 30 FPS in 5.4K.
Wow.
And I was using the, I believe, ND32. Normally, I would recommend using Polar Pro filters, as we are on the Polar Pro podcast. But honestly, I do really enjoy the Polar Pro filters. Unfortunately, I just didn't get any yet.
Yeah, we tried to get you some actually, and we haven't. I don't think
they were out of
even
stock
made 'em
actually,
or something or whatever. But
yeah, Rocky was letting me know that they were currently out of stock, which means they're selling probably pretty well.
Yeah.
So I actually got the Fly More combo. So DJI includes their own filters in that. So that's what I was using in this case.
And this is all Nashville, downtown.
Yeah, so what's really cool about downtown Nashville is that there are areas where you can fly drones legally. So I made sure to do my research before taking off. So you can fly all over the Cumberland River
Love that transition.
area. I know. I spent way too much time on it. It's still a little messy, but I don't know that I care to fix it.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Yeah, so it's just really pretty footage of downtown Nashville. I'm probably going to include some samples for people so that they can download it and mess with the D-Log footage themselves and maybe make it look better than I did.
I think it looks great.
I don't claim to be a colorist, but yeah, no, the footage. The
footage looks great, man, and the cameras have come so far now on these drones.
Yeah,
that it's. I mean, this looks like a real camera. This does not look like a cruddy, tiny little camera anymore.
If you actually scroll back a little bit, not quite so far, that same exact shot, the building on the right, when I pan up, if you look at it, you can see the only complaint that I have is see the flickering on the building. Mm-hmm. That's essentially the camera over sharpening. And
okay.
it's trying it's trying to basically like render that detail, and it can't decide what it wants to do.
Gotcha.
And it's flickering because the exposure itself isn't changing off that. That's all locked off. I shot it in manual. But it was a pretty cool drone. I loved taking it out and flying it and getting some really fun footage.
Everybody go watch it. You said you spent like a ton of time on the sound design on this.
Yeah, well, more than I needed to be honest, because I was
adding
just
birds and
birds and wind and water.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Just channeling my inner stupid filmmaker.
Go check out Connor McCaskill's channel. We'll link it in the eye icon above and in the description right now in this video podcast. And by the way, if you're listening to the audio, go over to YouTube, give it a watch. Even if you prefer the audio, go subscribe, hit that like button, enable the bell notification.
Helps us out.
Do those things. It really helps us out. Do it now. So yeah, I mean, do you think that this essentially replaces the Mavic 2 Pro, or I mean, we're still waiting to see what the Mavic 3 Pro is going to be?
I think that if you are replacing your Mavic 2 Pro with this drone, the answer I would give is no. I think if you have a 2 Pro, keep it. For one thing, you get a controllable aperture. This is fixed at 2.8.
Okay.
So that gives you that. It kind of sucks in a way because, you know, you can adjust with the ND filter or with your ISO, but if you want to lock everything else off, except for, you know, you can't adjust your exposure with the aperture. You can't. So that's a little bit frustrating. So I would say wait for the Pro 3.
Yeah, which that's going to just give us everything. I think the rumors are that it may even do 8K, which is ridiculous.
Oh my gosh. I mean, that'll be really cool. Honestly, though, I could take the exact same specs and just stop with the over sharpening.
Yeah,
it does that. I added to this blur.
Yeah, you have to add some softness to the image to make it look good.
Yeah, it's like, so honestly, just don't give me in-camera sharpening. Just let it be unsharp, let it be smooth, and then if I want to, I can sharpen it.
Is that so? Even in the log mode, you still get that weird sharpness.
Yeah,
that sucks.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's kind of the problem with the lower end models. I have the Mini 2.
Yeah.
I love that camera. I was gonna have it on the table here, but I forgot. But it's just so tiny and amazing. But there's no log on that one, and you obviously have the crazy sharpness.
Do you get decine-like, or is it just nothing? Standard only?
Nothing, just standard. But you can adjust the profile. Like I basically lower the sharpness all the way down, lower the contrast all the way down.
Interesting. I don't know that I can. I'm gonna have to go through and see if I can do it on mine. I don't know that I can.
There's a profile on DJI cameras. Maybe I'll show it to you. You can.
Oh, that would just be in
sharpness down.
Standard. Do you think I can mess with D-Log and do that? Okay. Yeah, you have to show me how to do that.
There's like the actual picture profile itself.
Right.
And then there's like the settings for the profile.
Okay.
That are it's separate. It's kind of confusing. So maybe your sharpness is up.
Yeah, it could be. Yeah.
But even with it down, I do know for a fact that like even when you turn it off on DJI cameras, they just seem to always have a little bit of sharpness.
Sure.
That seems to be kind of digital.
Right.
But you know, it's fixable. And again, like we're just being kind of picky. But
of course.
Because
at the end of the day, it's pretty amazing.
I mean, let me see how small that thing is. This is the Air, so it's actually bigger than some of the other drones they sell now.
Sure.
But it is smaller than the Pro.
It is smaller. Honestly, it's
kind of the perfect size.
It is, yeah. I think the Pro...
It's a little bigger than my tiny lenses, but...
I think the Pro is a good size too. Like a lot of people complain, it's like, oh, it's too big. I'm like, really? It's pretty small, all things considered, for what it does. But this thing's great. Yeah, can fit in my backpack.
About the size of a Game Boy.
About the size of a Game Boy.
It's really cool. And 1-inch sensor, man. We're getting really close to like a real sensor at that point.
I know.
And Philip Bloom had a great video on it. He did some really beautiful footage on his review.
I watched it, and to be honest, you want to know something funny about that video specifically?
What?
So I was working on a video for my channel about this drone, and I was like, I'll just do, I got the Fly More combo. I'll do an unboxing, and then I'll do some test footage. And then I shot it, I shot some test footage, which was Nashville. Actually, I shot some more footage in my backyard, but I'm not going to use that. And then in his review, not this one, but actually a later one, he said, and this is no boring unboxing video. This is, and I was like, that's what I was going to do.
I was going to do a boring unboxing video.
So I felt bad. So I decided to scrap it all. It's just a bunch of footage wasted.
I mean, you can see clearly you can get some depth of field when you fly up close to an object and just do the,
Yeah, but let me tell you, that drone's going to scream at you the whole time. I forgot how loud it is. It just yells at you constantly.
For getting close.
Like, when I was
disable the sensor.
I did my Philip Bloom shot where I flew back through those trees, which you saw, and it was screaming the whole time, and people were looking over at me like, "What is this guy doing?"
I guess you could disable it, but then you're risking stuff. So
yeah, I figured out. I was like, oh, hey, I can turn down the volume just on my phone. Duh.
Yeah.
So
that's a good point.
Yeah.
So Final Cut versus Adobe Premiere.
Whoa.
I think it's a big topic that a lot of videographers have. It's like an endless debate. It seems. I'm still pro Final Cut Pro.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Sure. Yeah.
And you're kind of like you're a convert from Premiere to Final Cut when you worked with me, and
Right.
then you went full Premiere with Armando.
Sure.
So I feel like you even more so than I now, because I've been removed from Premiere for so many years now.
Sure.
What are your kind of like opinions on Premiere versus Final Cut?
Use DaVinci Resolve. No, actually, like if you're getting into this and you're brand spanking new, and you're like, oh boy, I want to edit. Use DaVinci Resolve. It's free. It works on both systems, so whether your PC or your Mac, and the color grading tools are amazing, and it's the future. It just is.
It's so good. And it's native M1 as well. if you're on a
Yeah,
Mac.
it's faster than Final Cut, honestly, in a test that I did with it.
It is faster
I
now.
just don't understand DaVinci Resolve. I should learn it. And a lot of people like me keep saying, I should learn it.
Yeah.
But I haven't. So, yeah, if you're new and you're considering all of the 3 major editing softwares, DaVinci Resolve.
DaVinci Resolve is amazing. And not only is it a great editor,
Yeah.
it's like best in class color grading
Yeah,
program.
yeah.
So
A lot of people who even edit in Final Cut or Premiere, they'll transfer everything over to DaVinci just to color grade and master, do like a final look.
yeah, it's pretty amazing.
But if you're talking literally, okay, we're talking Final Cut and we're talking Premiere.
Yeah, that's
And those are the
that
tools.
was the question.
Those are the questions. Those are the tools.
But the Resolve, to get that out of the way, I think it's important.
Yeah. Had to say that. Now for the stubborn people, here we are. I mean, personally, if I had to choose one right now, I would choose Premiere. Personally, because I've been using Adobe Audition more.
Yeah.
So I love the integration with other Adobe, services.
I mean, you use it for this podcast because here we
Yeah.
are doing this multicam shoot that you're going to edit in
That
Premiere.
and I do transfer
the-
the audio over into Audition, and then I just hit Command Save, and then it does it
Yeah.
in Premiere, and it's pretty cool how it all works.
We do have that with Logic. It's the same thing.
Sorry, sure. But that being said, it all depends on what you're editing. I feel like because or even who you're editing with. I mean, if you're working with someone who uses Final Cut
Yeah.
and you work very, very closely with them, well, you should probably use Final Cut.
Well, I mean, as a freelance editor, it's important to kind of know everything.
Sure.
Like Resolve, Premiere, and Final Cut.
Yeah.
Because then you could essentially work for anybody.
Sure, yeah. I've edited in all 3. A lot more in Premiere and Final Cut than DaVinci. In fact, I've only done 1 project in DaVinci.
And that was like a test, right?
Yeah, per request of a guy that I was working for. He was like, can you just edit 1 project? Because he uses DaVinci in DaVinci. And I was like, oh, all right, I'll give it a go. And I did, and I, struggle bust my way through it.
Yeah,
Because it's just, things are just not where I thought they would be, because I have a Premiere brain now.
yeah.
So, but if you're editing text and, you do a lot of caption work on your videos, like Final Cut's awesome. Yeah. All the different plugins that you can get for like animation and tracking through Mocha
Yeah, I love it.
is insane. It's so
and
good.
The fact that you can build and design your own custom graphics and save that as a template in Final Cut. I mean, I use that all the time.
Yeah.
So basically, I'll just create like a lower third or a specific graphic with the font and the animation that I want.
Right.
And then in Motion, just save it. You save it as a Final Cut plugin.
Yeah.
And then I never have to go to Motion.
Yeah.
It's like really amazing
Yeah,
to have that access.
And I feel like I was probably in my Final Cut prime, I was probably a faster editor in Final Cut.
Once you learn to harness that timeline, it can
Yeah.
really work to your advantage.
Yeah, at first it was very off-putting, but you
Yeah.
can really learn it, and especially for the style we were doing, which was very punchy, just like bam, bam, edits, and text all the time. Made a lot of sense. But then when I switched over to working with Armando, everything was a little, not slower isn't the word I would use. It's just like, it's like we let things live longer.
Yeah.
It was a very polished, and so
Totally.
Premiere just kind of it actually didn't work. It crashed all the time, but it just worked. It worked for the flow, and it was slower.
Slower is the right word.
Yeah, we had like massively powerful computers, and it would still crash.
I think that's been my argument is like for Final Cut is that obviously especially now with these M1 Max, Final Cut is great. But I mean, the same is true for Resolve as well.
Yeah. Well, and I don't know. I mean, they have the beta version of Premiere, which does support M1, which I don't touch beta as much as I can because I don't need
You
things
never know if it
breaking.
crashes and stuff.
Yeah, exactly. I can't have that happening. But eventually they'll release that.
I know.
Who knows?
They should. I think that it's still kind of like just preference and specific use cases. I think there was a time where people really hated on Final Cut because it was just so jarring when it first came out. People would say things that were so ridiculous, like you're not professional if you use Final Cut.
Sure. They're like, you might as well use iMovie.
Yeah, exactly. I think the narrative has changed now.
Right.
And Final Cut is absolutely pro. There's been plenty of pro projects.
There's a lot of amazing editors and edits that have come out of Final Cut.
I think like a lot of YouTubers use Final Cut.
Yeah,
like
KBHD, Jevin Dobie.
Yeah.
Some other people.
Hayden Hillier Smith, who edits for Logan Paul.
Oh yeah, there you go.
He just did a video with Yes Theory's editor. He's all Final Cut as well.
Yeah.
So we're talking. Those are some of the biggest editors on YouTube.
I feel like the people who identify more with YouTube are more okay with Final Cut.
Yeah.
The people who are more identify
kind of a mindset thing, isn't it?
Yeah, and the people who more identify as filmmakers are like less okay with Final Cut.
Totally.
I don't know. That might be a generalization. But
totally. I mean, there's lots of great features for both.
Yeah.
And I love. I used to be really into After Effects and having access to that. If you're an After Effects person, Premiere's the obvious choice as well. So,
right.
But have fun paying that fee each month.
I don't have fun with that. I like DaVinci's model, free.
Yeah, DaVinci's free, and then Apple is $300 one time.
Why isn't Final Cut on my iPad?
It's a great question,
Yeah.
especially now with the M1 iPad. It's kind of inevitable.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Is it inevitable, or do you think they just won't give it to us because it'll make their laptops more obsolete? I mean, I watched a video with MKBHD, and he was saying how it's like there's so much power in this iPad and nothing to use it on.
I know.
And I think he also said, so don't quote me on this, but I'm pretty sure he said like if they gave him the ability to like use it more and have Final Cut, he probably wouldn't carry a laptop anymore.
Yeah, I think that I'm still, I mean, here I am using Logic.
Yeah.
Another app that's ripping the audio from my mixing board here.
Sure.
I've got all these windows and like Finder. Like I don't think I would switch from a laptop to an iPad.
Yeah.
I don't get like the iOS kind of world is great for this, the phone.
Right.
And then obviously an iPad is great for watching movies and playing games. And
I want the iPad to be able to do both. Or like come up with some crazy hybrid operating system. I know it does operate on its own iPad OS.
Yeah. And they have the trackpad now with the keyboard.
Yeah, but it's like it's getting so close to just essentially a laptop that's a touchscreen. Like just make it official. Just let us do it.
I say I would rather just have a MacBook with a touchscreen.
Really, you just want to be jabbing at that screen, grimy fingers all over it
with the Apple Pencil support.
Actually, that'd be cool.
But with just do the Windows PC thing where it like folds on itself.
Yeah.
So it can become like the yoga computers or whatever.
100%.
What do you think about doing this show live one day and going back to cameras and coffee?
Whoa. Cameras and coffee.
Would you guys be down with that? Comment on this video if you would be down with that.
Yeah.
Let's talk about cameras and coffee. That was the first live experience that we ever did. This was the first one, I think, wasn't
Let's not play it. No, there. Oh, how are we doing?
Wow, look at both of us. We've really...
We've aged well.
I look pretty similar.
Actually, you do. Same glasses.
Yeah.
I have different glasses.
Well, those are the glasses that I remember Ryan broke. Look, you can see my duct tape on the side there.
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
That's awesome. I'm like super uncomfortable.
You look like a child.
I am a child.
And then...
That was 4 years ago.
This was
2 years ago.
After doing it for a while.
That looks nice.
Looking a little bit more normal.
Yeah.
Similar setup again with the 1DC as the king of the set. We were just using that silly Blue Yeti mic.
Yeah. It worked.
It worked well, and it was a ton of fun.
Yeah.
We're moving.
Yeah, this
was a big deal.
That was the California stream.
Oh my gosh.
Crazy with all the stuff packed up.
And then California Live.
Yeah.
This was the first live we did at
That's
your
my
house.
apartment. Yeah. I liked that apartment. It was a great place. I literally never turned on the AC because it was Laguna. and it was always perfect. And we lived 6 minutes from the beach, so the breeze would always come through. I just had windows open
I know.
all the time. It was awesome.
That was the best like year.
Yeah.
That year.
That was a really cool, that was a fun time.
We went to Germany. We
Yeah.
did that. I think we went to Germany before we moved. It was like maybe
It was literally like a couple weeks before. Yeah.
But yeah, and then starting this podcast with Polar Pro, and
Yeah.
it's funny, like after all this time, this was 2018.
Right.
This is the only thing that's lasted.
That's right.
Is this podcast.
The Polar Pro podcast holds true.
That tells you something about
Yeah.
Polar Pro and how awesome they are.
Absolutely.
This was fun. Maybe we could do a live stream sometime if we
Okay.
can get the switching thing set up.
Yeah.
It could be fun to have like people commenting.
Live streams are a logistical nightmare, but
That's
I
true.
think it'd be fun.
Kind of changes the format of this show a bit as well.
Yeah, but I think it also, yeah, like you said, with the live
Take
comments, take questions, just hang out. It's much more, hey, let's talk to cameras.
Exactly.
And kind of like actually hanging out with real people is just way more interesting, in my opinion.
I agree. Well, hopefully you guys enjoyed this version of the Golden Hour podcast with Connor McCaskill talking about all sorts of camera news and fun facts about ourselves.
Yeah.
And what's going
and
on
then
in
different
your world.
editors and how wrong I am about my choice of editor. And you can let me know about that in the comments.
And this new format doesn't mean we're not going to have guests anymore on the show. This is just a little bit more logistically easier for us to produce this every single week. It is a bit of a challenge to like get guests lined up every single week.
It's amazing how long you've been able to get a guest. That is a testament to how friendly Dave is. Everyone loves Dave, and
as
he makes
you
friends
know,
everywhere.
As you know, there's been several times where I get an interview on a Monday and the podcast has to come out on a Tuesday. So
Yeah.
that's no fun either. So yeah, we'll definitely always try to have guests on. I got a couple of people lined up already, but
Yeah, and maybe if you guys have some ideas for different guests that you would like to see, or maybe some guests that you would like to see return, be sure to hit us up. Hit
Absolutely.
up Dave on any social media, and really the best place to do it is on the YouTube comments.
Yes. So if you're listening again to the audio version of this, please go over to youtube.com/ghpod, subscribe, enable bell notifications, like the video, leave a comment. That's the best way for us to engage with the audience here.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely. This was fun.
thank you, Connor, for coming on.
Absolutely. Thanks
This
for
was a
having me.
blast. Once again, I'm Dave Mays. This is Connor McCaskill. We'll see you next week.